Quiet.
Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
can you state
She's asking a
categorically,
question. Don't
Mr.
be
President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You are
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can
No,
you
I'm
give
not
us a
going to give you a
question?
question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir. I'm Dr. Dave Jando. Welcome back to Dave versus the MSM. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. We are available, well, so far, here. But folks, if you want detail, if you want in-depth analysis, there's one place to shop, or one place to stop. DaveJanda.com. Extra shows, extra content, extra guests, extra analysis, archives to all of our shows. Why do we do that? Because on every social media platform, there is a huge amount of censorship. Whether it's hiding our content, lack of notifications, playing with viewer counts, playing with comments, sticking commercials in that are complete, when they do, okay? Putting Il Demente commercials on one of my most recent videos. Come on. They will do anything and everything to get you to tune out or not even know that we're there. DaveJanda.com. Tremendous amount of free public content. More than any other platform I'm aware of. At the level you get. And it's not just quantity, it's quality. And in addition, for 30 cents a day, you don't have to sign up for a year. You can sign up for, I don't know why you wouldn't, for a decade for that matter, but sign up for, everybody signs up for a month. You can get rid of it anytime you want, but I don't know why. Because the information you get, you will never see, hear, read, or experience from any other source because I don't place it any other place. And I don't know of anybody that have over 35 years of contacts that have developed behind people behind the curtain to give you the heads up months, if not years, ahead of the curve. Fact. That's not being egotistical. It's just being honest. I hope you become part of our freedom family. Because if you were part of our freedom family from the outset, or even if recently joined, you would not have fallen into all of their distractions. You know, look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's super balloon. Just keep looking up there. Look. But don't look at what's happening on the ground. Oh, on terra firma. Oh, no. The operations that the cult's pulling? No, they want you looking up in the sky. And their latest is look at that crappy can of beer. Yeah, look at that beer can that surrounds crappy beer. Look, my great-grandfather, Vaclav Janda, the guy who was one of the guys who developed the formula, the guy who developed the formula for Pilsner beer in Czechoslovakia, late 1800s. If you haven't watched that video, and it's free, it's on the top of our YouTube page. It's right on the featured section of DaveJanda.com. He went toe to toe with Augie Busch, from Bud Light fame. That's the company. The guy who founded that company, Augie Busch, a globalist cult member, and my great-grandfather, in 1907, 116 years ago, called him out on it and his ties. Now, it ruined my great-grandfather. But he called him out on his crappy beer. He called him out on how he treated his employees. He called him out on his ties to the cult in Washington, D.C. Why do you think Budweiser survived and Garden City Brewery, which the best beer, did not? But they want you distracted to their crappy beer can with their surrounding their crappy beer, to the balloons, so you don't realize what the heck is going on, that they're pulling out the rug from underneath you. Whether it's this financial system, you got Jerome Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, globalist cult extraordinaire, telling you his latest, when they raised interest rates another quarter point, when it was May some 3rd or something like that, he's talking, direct quote, the banking system is sound. Meanwhile, while he's saying that, there are headlines that there's another regional bank, PacWest, that was imploding. And he's telling, hey, look at the beer can. Look what's on the beer can. Look at that. Does that bother? Oh, let's talk about that. Let's get the women from The View talking about it and rising everybody up. Do not fall for their distractions, because if you do, your eye is off the ball and they are going to strip you of your remaining freedoms, liberties, financial resources, health and wellness. If you don't believe that, just think about the past 3 years. And they're going to take it all. Victor Davis Hanson, fantastic political analyst, recently wrote the following: fiddling America away through distractions, right? Okay. We fixate only on the irrelevant. That crappy beer can surrounding crappy beer, right? Okay. That we think we can address. We can fix that beer can. We can get that balloon out of the sky. While we ignore the existential we know, we believe, we're told by the cult that we cannot solve. They want you distracted while allies fear that after abandoning billions of dollars in weaponry in Kabul, Afghanistan to the terrorist Taliban, 80 billion. By the way, those arms are showing up all around the world, right? That's not a mistake. Okay. And pumping billions of dollars more of arms that we're aware of, 120 billion. We don't have 3 billion to do anything with the wall, but we got 120 billion for that World Economic Forum puppet in Ukraine, right? Okay. Pumping billions of dollars more of arms into the Ukrainian meat grinder and failing to increase U.S. armament productions, which makes us more vulnerable, doesn't exactly what was planned. Washington simply does not have the resources to match China in either a looming proxy or head-to-head war. They want you distracted from all. But look at the balloon. Look at the beer can. They want you distracted while, this is Hanson, oil producers, China, hostiles like Russia and Iran, and opportunists like Turkey and India all foresee the end of the dollar as the international currency. After the American humiliation in Afghanistan, the Islamic world, particularly on the West Bank and in Syria, all see the United States as increasingly weak. But they don't want you aware of that, do they? No. They want you distracted while foreigners assume that downtown Baltimore, Detroit, Los Angeles, Memphis, San Francisco, Chicago, or Washington, D.C. are seen as being medieval, filthy, unsafe, vacant, malodorous. Western civilization discovered 2,500 years ago how to remove excrement from its city cores. Now it has either lost or forgotten that ability, along with the knowledge that crime and disease thrive amid sewage and garbage. So, while everybody's looking up in the sky at the balloons or looking at that beer can with the crappy beer in it, here's what Hanson concludes. So America suffers the sins of omission, squabbling over the non-essential. Balloons, beer cans, and commission. Losing wars, going broke, ruining its economy, flirting with civil war. We know these are all self-inflicted wounds, but apparently we believe their remedies are worse than the original maladies. And so we fixate only on the irrelevant beer cans that we think we can address while ignoring the existential threats we know we believe and we're told we can no longer solve. The world outside the United States is terrified and stunned at the result, and increasingly looking elsewhere to non-American solutions. And that's where we are, folks. You see, the cult wants you distracted because they're in the process of taking down this entire financial system. And the goal that they have is for you and everyone you know to be destitute. Because if you're destitute, you're more willing to comply, to be subservient, to come to them and say, save me. Just as we saw millions of people in our country, billions of people around the world do the past 3 years. That was their beta test. And they know if they can get you financially destitute, you will give up all your freedoms and liberties to save me. It's up to you. The last 3 years, as I said, was the beta test. Now comes the real show. And as I've always told you, they always give you a heads up in their warped, evil minds of what's coming. The International Monetary Fund, globalist cult organization, recently said, the world needs to prepare for the unthinkable after this and the war in Ukraine. From the Epoch Times. International Monetary Fund Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva has warned that the world needs to be prepared to better handle shocks and the, quote, unthinkable, end quote, in a post-world and in light of the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. See, folks, as the financial towers come down, I've talked to you about this before, they're going to want you to embrace their solutions. And their solutions are to strip you of your economic well-being, your future, your freedom. And they're going to do that by saying, well, we have this basket of currencies. What are they based on? Nothing, air, vapor, like all currencies are in the world, including the dollar right now. And it's this basket, and we'll manage it. And that's what we're, rather than the dollar being the reserve currency, we're going to have it called special drawing rights, this basket. And then we're also going to have central bank digital currencies. Trust us, they're safe and effective. Heard that before? That's where they're going, folks. That's where they're going. But they want you distracted. So you don't prepare. So you don't start thinking about, now wait a minute, whoa. What can I do to protect myself from their operation? Storable food, storable water, a means of potentially protecting yourself. Networking, they don't want you communicating. They want you locked down so you don't talk to your neighbors and form, if you will, support groups. Okay, if this happens, we're hoping it doesn't, but if this happens, who's going to bring what to the party as far as skill sets? They don't want you talking to your neighbors. They don't want you working as a smaller community to insulate yourself. And as many of my guests, Bill Holter, Craig Hemke, Trader Steph, Adriana Reed, and God rest his soul, Rob Kirby, for a dozen years that we've done the radio show Operation Freedom, they've given you regular warnings of what was coming and how to protect yourself. From a financial standpoint, what they've all, and Ed Steer, by the way, I forgot Ed Steer, they've all spoken about the single most effective insurance policy for your well-being is physical gold and physical silver, because there's no counterparty risk to it. There's nobody that can say, wait a minute, I own part of that. Now, if you hold it, as my dad used to say, if you hold it, you own it. And if you want a case history of the benefits of using gold and silver as your financial insurance, watch that video featured, actually still there on the top of the YouTube page, also on our homepage at davejanda.com, of our Fight for Freedom, our Road to Freedom. It's titled a couple different ways, but it's the same. It's right there. And it's about what happened with my great-grandfather with Augie Bush, and then my grandfather and my dad, and our battles. But in particular, when our family was knocked to the mat by the globalist cult, in 1907 and 1908. I relay to you our family history of what was done to save our family. Folks, I'm not trying to hand out fear porn. I'm handing out facts. As a physician, the hardest thing I had to do was tell people bad news, but in the process of doing that, to provide an avenue of action so that that potential negative outcome could be averted. And I'm doing that now, today, and have been for a long time, but I'm telling you, stop ignoring this message. Stop. Because it's not just you that you're hurting by ignoring it. It's everybody around you, everyone in your family. Take this information and network it to anyone and everyone you know. Take that video, Road to Freedom, Fight for Freedom, network it. Because what we experienced the last 3 years was their beta test. And this time, they're going to come after your financial health. Because if you're financially destitute and you're at rock bottom, you'll give up anything to make it to the next day. And we have to make sure that you don't hit rock bottom so you don't give up anything, let alone your freedom. I thank you for joining me today. We are available 24/7 at davejanda.com. Stop on by. You will not be disappointed. You will be educated and empowered. And we hope you become part of our Freedom family. Subscription side, 30 cents a day. It's priceless. It really is. I know you're biased. No, I'm just being honest with you. Try it for a month. It will put you months, if not years, ahead of the curve. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.